Most people believe body fat is simply stored energy, something we either have too much of or too little of. And for decades, we've been taught that the goal is straightforward: lose weight, reduce the number on the scale, and your health will automatically improve. But here's what modern science has revealed: that story is incomplete, because body fat isn't just fat. It's actually one of the largest and most active organs in your body. It communicates with your brain, your immune system, your liver, your muscles, your blood vessels, and even your heart every single minute of the day. It releases hormones, it produces inflammatory signals, it stores energy, it regulates metabolism, and depending on where it's located and how healthy it is, it can either protect your body or slowly accelerate aging from the inside out. Recent reviews emphasize that aging fat tissue plays a major role in insulin sensitivity, inflammation, cardiovascular health, and healthy lifespan. Here's what's really going on inside your body. The question isn't simply, how much fat do you have? The better question is, what kind of fat do you have? Where is it stored, and how is it behaving? Because two people can weigh exactly the same, wear the same clothing size, and even have the same body mass index. Yet one has a dramatically higher risk of diabetes, fatty liver disease, heart disease, cognitive decline, and premature aging than the other. The difference often comes down to the biology of their fat, not just the amount. Throughout this video, we're going to separate myths from science. You'll learn why some body fat is actually essential for longevity, why visceral fat behaves very differently from the fat just beneath your skin, how inflammation transforms healthy fat into dangerous fat, why your metabolism is deeply connected to your fat tissue, and most importantly, the practical habits that can help your body rebuild healthier fat while naturally reducing the type that threatens your long-term health. And if you're someone who wants to understand your body instead of simply fighting against it, you're in exactly the right place. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every day, I share science-backed strategies designed to help you improve your metabolism, protect your organs, and live a longer, healthier life naturally. Now let's begin by understanding one of the biggest misconceptions in modern health. Not all body fat is created equal. For many years, scientists believed body fat had one primary purpose: storing excess calories for later use. Today, we know that's simply not true. Body fat is an incredibly active organ that is constantly communicating with nearly every system inside your body. It produces hormones, releases signaling molecules called adipokines, stores energy, senses changes in nutrition, and even helps regulate your immune system. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Imagine you're standing in front of a whiteboard. Draw a circle in the center and label it fat cell. Now draw arrows extending from that circle to your brain, liver, muscles, pancreas, heart, blood vessels, and immune system. Those arrows represent millions of biochemical messages being sent every single day. Healthy fat cells release signals that help regulate appetite, improve insulin sensitivity, support immune balance, and coordinate how your body uses energy. Hormones such as leptin help tell your brain when you've had enough to eat, while adiponectin improves the body's ability to use insulin and protects blood vessels from inflammation. But when fat cells become overloaded, especially deep inside the abdomen, they begin sending a very different message. Instead of promoting balance, they start releasing inflammatory chemicals that interfere with insulin, increase oxidative stress, and encourage fat to accumulate in organs like the liver and pancreas. This creates a vicious cycle. Inflammation makes fat tissue less healthy, and unhealthy fat tissue creates even more inflammation. What the research shows is that the health of your fat tissue may be just as important as the amount of fat you carry. Scientists now recognize dysfunctional adipose tissue as a central driver of insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, and unhealthy aging. Rather than acting as passive storage, fat tissue actively shapes whole body metabolism through hormone production and immune signaling. The encouraging news is that fat tissue is remarkably adaptable. When you consistently improve your nutrition, move your body, sleep well, and manage stress, your fat cells begin changing their behavior. They become less inflamed, respond better to insulin, and send healthier signals throughout the body. One of the simplest ways to begin is by focusing on whole, minimally processed foods. Fill half your plate with colorful vegetables, include high quality protein at each meal, add healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, nuts, and seeds, and prioritize fiber rich foods that nourish your gut microbiome. Regular physical activity, especially resistance training combined with brisk walking, helps your muscles and fat tissue communicate more effectively, improving metabolic health even before major weight loss occurs. This is an important reminder. You're not just trying to shrink fat cells, you're trying to make them healthier. And when you improve the health of your fat tissue, you're improving the health of your entire body. If this is helping you see body fat in a completely new way, consider subscribing. Every day I share practical, science-backed strategies to help you optimize your metabolism, protect your organs, and extend your healthy years naturally. Now that we've established that not all fat behaves the same, let's examine the most important distinction of all, the difference between the fat you can pinch beneath your skin and the hidden fat surrounding your internal organs. Most people judge their health by what they see in the mirror. If their waist looks smaller, they assume they're becoming healthier. If they can't see much body fat, they believe their risk is low. But your mirror only tells part of the story. The real question is where your body is storing fat. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a house. Subcutaneous fat, the fat just beneath your skin, is like insulation inside the walls. In the right amount, it serves an important purpose. It cushions your body, stores energy for times of need, helps regulate temperature, and even produces hormones that support normal metabolism. Now imagine another kind of storage. Instead of keeping supplies neatly inside the walls, boxes begin piling up in the kitchen, the hallway, and the living room. Eventually, they block the doors, interfere with daily life, and put stress on the entire house. That's visceral fat. Instead of sitting safely beneath the skin, visceral fat wraps around your liver, pancreas, intestines, and other abdominal organs. Because it's so close to these organs, it releases inflammatory chemicals and fatty acids directly into the portal vein, which carries blood straight to the liver. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When excess visceral fat sends a constant stream of free fatty acids to the liver begins producing more glucose and more triglycerides. Over time, liver cells become less responsive to insulin. Blood sugar rises. The pancreas works harder to produce additional insulin. Eventually, this cycle can contribute to metabolic syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. What the research shows is that visceral fat is metabolically far more active and more harmful than subcutaneous fat. Numerous studies have linked increased visceral fat with a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, several cancers, and premature mortality, even among people whose body weight falls within the normal range. This explains why someone can appear lean on the outside while carrying dangerous fat around their organs on the inside, a condition sometimes called TOFI, or thin outside, fat inside. Fortunately, visceral fat is also one of the most responsive types of fat to healthy lifestyle changes. Unlike subcutaneous fat, which often changes slowly, visceral fat tends to decrease relatively quickly when insulin levels improve. One of the most effective strategies is reducing long periods of elevated insulin. That means limiting ultra-processed foods and sugary drinks, choosing high-fiber carbohydrates over refined starches, and pairing carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats to reduce sharp glucose spikes after meals. Regular movement is equally powerful. You don't have to spend hours in the gym. A brisk 30 to 45-minute walk each day, combined with resistance training 2 or 3 times per week, significantly improves insulin sensitivity. Muscle acts like a glucose sponge, pulling sugar out of the bloodstream and reducing the need for excess insulin. Lower insulin makes it easier for your body to access stored visceral fat for energy. Sleep also deserves far more attention than it usually gets. Consistently sleeping fewer than 7 hours raises cortisol and disrupts appetite hormones such as leptin and ghrelin. The result is increased hunger, more cravings for calorie-dense foods, and a greater tendency to accumulate visceral fat over time. So instead of asking, how do I lose weight? Ask a better question. How do I reduce the fat that's putting my organs under constant stress? Because when you focus on improving metabolic health instead of simply chasing a smaller number on the scale, you're addressing the true root cause. And that brings us to the next major piece of the puzzle. What transforms ordinary fat into inflamed, dysfunctional fat, and how can we reverse that process naturally? Here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. Because visceral fat doesn't become dangerous overnight, it goes through a biological transformation. And understanding that transformation may be one of the most important keys to protecting your metabolism and extending your healthy lifespan. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Imagine a healthy fat cell as a small balloon. When you consistently eat more energy than your body needs, that balloon gradually expands. At first, this is completely normal. Healthy fat cells are designed to safely store excess energy, protecting your muscles, liver, and pancreas from becoming overloaded. But every balloon has a limit. As fat cells continue to enlarge, they begin struggling to receive enough oxygen and nutrients. Their internal machinery becomes stressed. Eventually, they start sending out distress signals. Think of it like a neighborhood calling the emergency services. The immune system responds by sending specialized immune cells, called macrophages, into the fat tissue. Their original job is to clean up damaged cells and repair the area. The problem is that when the stress never stops, those repair crews never leave. Instead, they begin releasing inflammatory chemicals such as tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF alpha, and interleukin 6, IL-6. These molecules don't stay inside the fat tissue. They circulate throughout the bloodstream, affecting the liver, blood vessels, muscles, brain, and pancreas. This is what scientists call chronic low-grade inflammation. Unlike the inflammation that helps heal a cut or fight an infection, this type often produces no obvious symptoms for years. You may feel perfectly fine while inflammation quietly interferes with insulin signaling, damages blood vessels, accelerates plaque formation, and speeds up the biological aging of tissues throughout the body. What the research shows is that inflamed fat tissue is a major contributor to insulin resistance and many age-related diseases. Scientists now recognize chronic inflammation as one of the defining biological hallmarks of aging, sometimes referred to as inflammaging. As unhealthy fat accumulates, inflammatory signaling increases, making it harder for cells to respond to insulin and easier for disease to develop. The encouraging news is that inflammation is highly responsive to lifestyle. Every meal you eat either helps calm this process or fuels it. One of the simplest strategies is to build meals around anti-inflammatory foods. Fill your plate with colorful vegetables, berries, beans, lentils, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, seeds, herbs, and fatty fish rich in omega-3 fats. These foods provide antioxidants and plant compounds that help reduce oxidative stress while supporting healthier immune function. At the same time, try to reduce foods that repeatedly spike blood sugar and insulin. Ultra-processed snacks, refined grains, sugary beverages, and excessive added sugars create repeated metabolic stress that encourages inflammation over time. Stress management matters just as much. When psychological stress becomes chronic, cortisol remains elevated. High cortisol not only raises blood sugar, but also encourages fat storage around the abdomen while amplifying inflammatory pathways. Even 10 to 15 minutes of daily walking, deep breathing, meditation, or spending time outdoors can help lower stress hormones and improve metabolic resilience. Exercise provides another remarkable benefit. Every time your muscles contract, they release signaling proteins called myokines. You can think of these as anti-inflammatory messengers that help counteract many of the harmful signals produced by unhealthy fat tissue. In other words, your muscles and your fat are constantly having a biochemical conversation, and the more you move, the healthier that conversation becomes. If this has helped you understand why inflammation, not just body weight, is such an important driver of disease, consider subscribing. Every day, I share practical, science backed strategies that help you improve your metabolism, reduce inflammation, and live a longer, healthier life naturally. Now let's explore one of the most remarkable discoveries in metabolic science, a special type of fat that doesn't store energy at all. It actually burns it to generate heat, protect your metabolism, and support healthy aging. At this point, you might be thinking that all body fat is something you should try to eliminate. But that's another common misconception. Your body actually contains a remarkable type of fat that scientists are working hard to understand because it appears to do exactly the opposite of what most people expect. Instead of storing calories, it burns them. This is called brown adipose tissue or simply brown fat. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body has two kinds of batteries. One battery stores energy for later use. That's white fat. The other battery is constantly using energy to generate heat. That's brown fat. Brown fat is packed with tiny structures called mitochondria, the power plants inside your cells. These mitochondria contain a unique protein known as UCP1, which allows brown fat to convert stored fuel directly into heat instead of ATP, the energy currency most cells produce. This process is called non-shivering thermogenesis. It's one of the body's natural ways of maintaining temperature while increasing energy expenditure. For many years, scientists believed brown fat only existed in babies. Today, advanced imaging has shown that adults retain brown fat as well, particularly around the neck, shoulders, upper back, and along the spine. More importantly, studies suggest that people with more active brown fat often have better insulin sensitivity, healthier blood sugar regulation, lower levels of harmful visceral fat, and greater metabolic flexibility. But here's something even more exciting. Your body isn't limited to just white and brown fat. Under the right conditions, some white fat cells can transform into a more metabolically active form known as beige fat. Think of beige fat as ordinary employees receiving advanced training. They may not become full time specialists like brown fat, but they learn many of the same skills: burning more energy, improving glucose metabolism, and helping reduce inflammation. So, naturally, the next question is, can we activate these beneficial fat cells? The answer appears to be yes, at least to some extent. One of the strongest natural stimulators is regular physical activity. Exercise releases hormones and signaling molecules called myokines that encourage the formation of beige fat while improving mitochondrial function throughout the body. This is another reason why exercise changes your metabolism, even if the number on the scale doesn't move dramatically. Another fascinating trigger is mild cold exposure. Spending short periods in cooler environments, finishing a shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cool water, or taking walks in cooler weather can stimulate brown fat activity in many individuals. The key is moderation. There's no need for extreme ice baths if they aren't appropriate or comfortable for you. Nutrition also plays a supporting role. Foods rich in polyphenols, such as green tea, berries, colorful vegetables, and extra virgin olive oil, along with omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, sardines, and walnuts, support healthy mitochondrial function. Adequate protein intake is equally important because maintaining lean muscle and healthy mitochondria goes hand in hand with maintaining an efficient metabolism. Perhaps the most overlooked factor is sleep. Poor sleep reduces insulin sensitivity, disrupts appetite hormones, and limits your body's ability to repair mitochondria overnight. Simply aiming for 7 to 9 hours of consistent, high quality sleep can improve the hormonal environment that supports healthy fat function. The goal isn't to magically switch on brown fat and expect effortless weight loss. The real goal is to create an internal environment where every part of your metabolism works more efficiently. When your muscles become stronger, your mitochondria healthier, your insulin more sensitive, and your beneficial fat more active, your body naturally becomes better at using energy instead of storing it. And that's exactly what healthy aging looks like from the inside out. Now, let's bring everything together by answering the biggest question of all. How does the quality of your body fat influence how long and how well you live? By now, you've probably noticed something important. This conversation has never really been about weight. It's been about the health of your metabolism. Because when scientists study people who live the longest and remain active well into their 80s, 90s, and beyond, they rarely find one single secret. Instead, they find a pattern: healthy metabolism, low chronic inflammation, preserved muscle, and body fat that functions the way it was designed to. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Longevity isn't determined by how little body fat you have. It's determined by whether your fat tissue supports or sabotages the rest of your body. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body is running a business. Your muscles are the employees doing the work. Your organs are the departments that keep the company operating. Your metabolism is the financial system managing resources, and your body fat is the warehouse. A well managed warehouse stores supplies safely, delivers them when needed, and never interferes with the daily operation of the business. But if the warehouse becomes overcrowded, disorganized, and inflamed, deliveries slow down, departments begin struggling, employees become less productive. Eventually, the entire company suffers. That's exactly what happens when unhealthy visceral fat overwhelms your metabolism. But there's another side to this equation that's often overlooked. As we age, we don't just gain fat. Many people gradually lose muscle, a condition known as sarcopenia. This is why crash dieting can sometimes do more harm than good. If you lose significant muscle along with fat, your resting metabolic rate declines. Your body becomes less efficient at disposing of glucose, balance becomes more difficult, and the risk of falls, fractures, frailty, and loss of independence increases. What the research shows is that preserving lean muscle while reducing excess visceral fat is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. In fact, many longevity experts now focus less on total body weight and more on body composition, maintaining strength, mobility, metabolic flexibility, and low levels of chronic inflammation throughout life. So, what does this look like in practice? Start with protein. Aim to include a high quality source of protein at every meal, such as fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, legumes, tofu, or lean poultry to help preserve muscle as you age. Next, challenge your muscles. Resistance training 2 or 3 times each week sends a powerful signal for your body to maintain muscle tissue. You don't need expensive equipment. Bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, or simple dumbbells performed consistently can produce remarkable improvements over time. Don't neglect cardiovascular movement either. Walking after meals, cycling, swimming, or any activity that raises your heart rate improves insulin sensitivity while helping reduce visceral fat. Then focus on recovery. Sleep is when growth hormone supports tissue repair, muscles rebuild, and your metabolism resets for the next day. Without adequate sleep, even the best nutrition and exercise program becomes less effective. Finally, think beyond the scale. Pay attention to your waist circumference, your strength, your energy levels, how well you recover after activity, and your laboratory markers such as blood glucose, triglycerides, blood pressure, and HDL cholesterol. These often tell a far more meaningful story about your future health than body weight alone. If this has been helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every day, I share practical, evidence based strategies to help you improve your metabolism, protect your organs, and increase your healthy years naturally. Because longevity isn't about becoming the lightest version of yourself, it's about becoming the healthiest version of yourself. And now, let's put everything we've learned into one simple daily blueprint that you can begin using immediately to build healthier fat, improve your metabolism, and support a longer, more energetic life. As we come to the end of this discussion, I'd like you to remember one simple idea. Your body fat is not your enemy, it's your biology. And like every other system in your body, it responds to the choices you make every single day. Throughout this video, we've uncovered a very different perspective from the one many of us grew up believing. We've learned that body fat is a dynamic endocrine organ that communicates with your brain, liver, muscles, immune system, and heart. We've seen that where fat is stored matters just as much as how much you carry. Visceral fat surrounding your organs behaves very differently from the fat beneath your skin, increasing inflammation, disrupting insulin signaling, and raising the risk of chronic diseases when left unchecked. We've also explored how chronic inflammation transforms healthy fat into dysfunctional fat, why brown and beige fat can support a more efficient metabolism, and why preserving muscle is just as important as reducing excess body fat if your goal is healthy aging and longevity. The encouraging news is that none of these systems are fixed. Your metabolism is constantly adapting. Every balanced meal, every walk after dinner, every strength training session, every good night's sleep, and every decision to manage stress sends your body a powerful message: repair, recover, and become healthier. You don't need a perfect diet. You don't need extreme fasting. You don't need to fear every carbohydrate or chase the latest weight loss trend. What you need is consistency. Focus on eating whole, minimally processed foods. Prioritize protein and fiber at every meal. Stay physically active with a combination of walking and resistance training. Protect your sleep. Reduce chronic stress. And most importantly, measure your progress by how your body functions, not just by what the scale says. Because lasting health isn't built through quick fixes. It's built through daily habits that allow your body's natural biology to work the way it was designed. So here's my challenge for you. Choose just one change from today's video and begin today. Maybe it's replacing a sugary drink with water. Maybe it's taking a 20-minute walk after dinner. Maybe it's adding vegetables to every meal or committing to 2 strength training sessions this week. Don't try to change everything at once. Small, consistent improvements create extraordinary results over time. And as you make those changes, pay attention to how your body responds. Notice your energy, your sleep, your focus, your waistline, and how you feel each morning. Those are often the earliest signs that your metabolism is healing, even before the scale begins to move. If this video added value to your health journey, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every day, I share science-backed practical strategies to help you improve your metabolism, protect your organs, and live a longer, healthier life naturally. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of your body, stay curious about the science, and remember, the goal isn't simply to live longer, it's to give your body the best possible chance to live longer and healthier.